Welcome to the We Shine Well podcast, where I have real conversations with thought leaders in wellness to help you live your most vibrant, aligned, and purposeful life. I'm your host, Zoe Kelsey, founder of We Shine Well. Here, we share honest stories, gems of wisdom, and insight to spark clarity and guide your next right step, so you can shine brighter from the inside out. Now let's dive in. Today on the We Shine Well podcast, I'm joined by Zimmer, dear friend, co-founder and CEO of Juna, certified brain trainer, and one of the most thoughtful voices in wellness. Jules' work is rooted in both science and lived experience. After navigating postpartum anxiety, she dove deep into brain health at Amen Clinic and microbiome research at Stanford, reshaping her understanding of mood, cognition, and healing, and ultimately creating Juna to support women's brains and bodies more intelligently. In this conversation, we talk about brain and gut health, her health philosophy, and why being a founder and human is a spiritual practice. This episode is grounded, empowering, and refreshing. Let's dive in. Hi, Jewel. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today. It's been such a pleasure to get to know you and become friends with you over the years and car chats and everything in between.
Well, likewise. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited about this podcast launch for you.
Me too. Well, I'm excited to share all of the wisdom I'm grateful to learn. And I feel like every time that I was telling you this before, I feel like every time I talk to you, I learn something new and a new skill that you have. It's just like the incredible toolbox of Jewel and the various skill sets that you have.
Well, I think we all have them, right? It's just like noticing them and being aware of them and then remembering to share them.
Yeah. Well, there are very, very many. So, I mean, you've had such an incredible journey from like being a chef to having a chocolate company and starting Juna. Can you unpack your journey a bit for us to like, how has that led you to where you are today in life and your work?
Yeah, let's get into it. I really believe that most founders, especially wellness founders, they don't choose the path for themselves. Somehow, somewhere, the path is chosen for them. And I think that that can be by way of like an experience, a personal experience that they've had that forces them to solve a problem that's a necessity to their lives, or sometimes it's just a form of expression. And yeah, I started my career actually as a pastry chef in fine dining restaurants, and the hours and the commitment to the innovation and the culture of that work was very exciting, but also very exhausting. And after I had the birth of my oldest daughter, I realized it wasn't going to be very sustainable anymore. So I stepped away, but because I'm me, I wanted to still do something that was innovative. My brain was still creating ideas and designing plates and designing flavors all the time. So I ended up launching a chocolate company. And the way that I approached the chocolate company was the same way that I approached how I would innovate on the plate. So I took a look at the actual ingredient of chocolate, and I went back to the origin of where it came from, what it was used for, and what it actually is on like a molecular and chemical level. And what I learned was that the cacao bean was, since antiquity has been known for its experiential and mood benefits. It was used as an aphrodisiac. It was called food of the gods. It's known as the biggest superfood of all time. And so I took all of that information and I backed into it. I started working with a chemist in France. We were extracting all of these naturally occurring polyphenol antioxidants and mood enhancers from the cacao bean. We were infusing them into this beautiful single origin dark chocolate. And the story was really about beauty from within. And it was a love story around the cacao bean and what was inside of it and sharing that. I ended up launching the product line. The company was called Cocoa Absolute at Barney's, New York.
Mhm.
I knew no one at Barney's, New York.
Mhm.
Disclaimer. I knew absolutely no one there. I had never launched a product like this in my life, but I knew the demographic so well from working fine dining. I overnighted a package. I got a call literally like by noon the next day. The buyer,
Mhm.
Tony Russo, was like, "This is the future of beauty. It's a supplement.
Mm.
I'm going to launch you on the beauty floor in every single Barney's." And that opened up doors like Neiman Marcus, Dean and DeLuca, every boutique grocer in the country. We had a cult following from here to Japan, and it was wild. And that was really, I would say, the first time that I really started exploring food, not just as an experience, but
Mhm.
as medicine, and that it could truly like open receptors in your body and create this change.
Oh my God, that is the most like intentional like chocolate company I've ever heard of. I know that there were like bits and pieces, but like that is incredible. And do you feel like becoming a sommelier helped create the palette of like what you created? And then why did you close the doors on that?
Yeah, I mean, everything that I learned in the restaurant, from building flavor, from building design on a plate to servicing the customer to refining my palate again through studying wine. I mean, it was all part of it, right? Like all the dots end up connecting to something that you really can't imagine. And I mean, it really, the company just evolved. And I evolved with the company. I mean, I had the company for almost 10 years. And so
Mhm.
I evolved. And as I evolved, I wanted something not just experiential and not just a food, but an actual supplement,
Mhm. Yeah.
which eventually led us down the path to Juna.
Mhm. So what did that look like?
There was so many different pieces that came together at various times in my life that brought me to that point. Also, after I had my oldest daughter, I experienced very severe postpartum anxiety.
Mhm.
And long story short, about 7 months after I had her, I woke up in a state of complete darkness. I had absolutely no idea whose brain I was living in. And it
Mhm.
was terrifying and it was very isolating. It was hard to ask for help. It was hard to share what was going on. I went to my doctors and they were very quick to prescribe an SSRI and sleeping
Mhm.
medication. They actually didn't want to know what was going on. Nobody asked me.
Mhm.
And for me, that wasn't good enough because I felt like that was a band aid. If my brain was perfectly healthy and thriving a few weeks ago, a few months ago, and for my entire life, why all of a sudden do I not recognize it? So I really had to spend time and I really had to listen to my intuition and find somebody, some professional that was going to help me get to the bottom of this and fix it. So I found an acupuncturist in San Francisco who was globally renowned for IVF and fertility. And if you know me, I always go to the top. Like I
Yeah.
always find the best of the best because, or at least who I think are the best of the best that who could help whatever I'm looking to solve because I really don't want to waste any time in between. So I went to her and even though her expertise wasn't in the brain necessarily. I thought she understood women, and I was pretty sure this was hormonal because it was postpartum.
Yeah.
And she was instrumental in one, keeping me alive because it was very, very, very terrifying to be in my brain. And
Mhm.
two, she was able to regulate my nervous system enough that I felt better. But still after 8 or 9 months, I still was not back in my brain. So I found
Mhm.
an orthomolecular psychiatrist and he did all the tests. He did all the labs. And what the conclusion was that my body was not holding on to or producing amino acids. So it ended up not being hormonal at all. Now, fast forward several years, and I've studied the microbiome at Stanford. I have studied to be a brain health trainer at the Amen Clinics. It turns out that amino acids start in your gut. So it starts coming into this gut brain connection, and they are either precursors to neurotransmitters or acting as neurotransmitters. And he put me on a mega dose of a complex amino acid, and within 9 weeks, I had my brain back. And within 9 months, it was like roughly 9 months, I fully was in full remission. And it did take me another 7 years to have another baby because I was terrified that I might go back into that space. But I didn't. And that was the first time that I realized the healthcare system was broken, that I realized that we're all, at the end of the day, responsible for our own health. I started talking to other women, including my co-founder, Taylor, and we realized that women everywhere were facing this situation of just like never being heard when it came to their health. So Juna was truly born out of necessity. Anxiety is the number one mental health disorder in this country. Depression is the biggest killer of all time. We live in a world of sensory and schedule overload. We all have dopamine addiction and definitely dopamine depletion, add on sleep problems, and we're living in a health crisis. And so that's where Juna truly came from.
Wow, that's like a powerful turning point. And just hearing your entire story, there's just like a through line of you going straight to the source to like find out the right information, but also just like having that like scientific detail and like intentionality in every step and everything that you do. And also just like being an advocate for yourself to be able to like see a problem, fill the need, and support others in that too.
Well, it's really difficult. It's really difficult in the world that we live in to go out and help yourself. It costs money. These things can't be done through insurance, and they're extremely expensive. And even when I was doing this, which was several years ago, I was so sick. My husband and I actually moved out of our house with a toddler in San Francisco into a 1-bedroom apartment because I was paying thousands of dollars a month just to try to support, honestly, staying alive. And so it's a big commitment. And I think for me, people have questioned my choices, and it's always been a non-negotiable to invest in my health. And because of my experiences and because of my research, I can now help other women. And that's part of my purpose. That's why I'm here. I don't think I chose that. I think it truly chose me. I think it was just by way of experiencing and my experience and what was happening to me in my life.
Yeah. And it's like following those breadcrumbs. And you also talked about like the woman that you were meeting, and also like even in your relationship with your husband and your family, like having that support that's like, yeah, like this is what you need to do, and you're going to do it to like keep yourself alive, but also help other women have a better life.
Absolutely.
From this postpartum and this turning point, what did this all teach you about like brain health and like mental health that is broken in the medical system, and how you're becoming the change?
I mean, I think the first thing that it taught me is that our body has the capacity to heal if we give it the right tools. And heal is very different than putting a Band-Aid on something. And I'm not saying that taking an SSRI is not the right thing to do. I would never say that. It wasn't the right thing for me to do because I needed to go deep, and I needed to fix what was wrong. It was very serious, and I needed to find out what those answers were. But yeah, I mean, what it taught me was that the body is incredibly intelligent, and it is willing to heal, and it will regenerate. And every time something does come out of alignment with my health, and there's been odd things here and there. Last year, it was some nerve damage that I had from actually using a biohacking tool. We won't go into that too much. But, like a friend of mine said, well, I'm glad it happened to you at least, because at least you'll fix it and it won't like take you
Mm,
down for the rest of your life. And that's so true. And I know that like deep within, but it was really empowering to heal or to hear. And she was absolutely right. Like, because of the experience that I had with my brain and being able to see it repair and understanding that it actually came from my gut, probably even started after the C-section that I had and the trauma
mm,
there, right? That
mhm,
I can get through anything. And I can definitely also share that with other women, right? And help them understand that they can get through that. So much of health revolves around spirituality and faith. When I
mhm,
studied clinics, the biggest takeaway that I had actually around brain health was something called the four circles that Dr. Amen
mhm.
shares. And it's about making sure that these four circles are always in the best of health. And that's psychological. So that's how you think about yourself.
Yeah.
It's um physiological. It's what's acknowledging what's actually going on in your body, whether it's metabolic health or like diabetes, cardiovascular, nerve damage, right? Whatever it is, social, who you surround yourselves with. I mean, that is completely relates to your nervous system. If you don't feel safe, if you're not in an environment where people are lifting you up, it's almost impossible for the body to be regulated, and it needs to
Mhm,
be regulated in order to be healthy. And then lastly, it's this spirituality. It's faith. It's being able to believe in something that you can't see deep inside.
mhm, mhm. Yeah.
And once you really start to pay attention to those four circles and making sure that everything in those four circles is working and supporting you, your health really does fall into place.
Mhm. And those 4 circles, they don't sound necessarily like a checklist of things, but it's like, how can they all work together to help us to have, like, that optimal well-being, and it's like what you mentioned is, like, so powerful. It's like when we have those things, that's when our body, like, knows and everything clicks. I kind of even think about it as, like, what is that like when we're in alignment with, like, our mind, body, soul? It's like click, click, click. It's like, okay, like, I'm here, like, I'm in alignment, and we know when things just, like, feel out of alignment, like, energetically, but I mean, that could lead us to the chiropractor too, but, like, just knowing, like, what is out of alignment, and I'm also curious, like, what happens in our lives, but also, like, in our brains when we are neglecting ourselves in any of those areas or all of them?
Yeah, I mean, the brain's affected by everything. If you look at brain scans, and you're watching somebody's live brain while they're having a feeling of love, the brain changes, right? Trauma changes the brain, hormones change the brain, gut health changes the brain, meditation, gratitude, everything changes the brain. And the more, I mean, I have been testing personally and professionally for years all the things that could optimize somebody's brain or optimize somebody's body. And what I've come back to and what I know that works is that your body does have the capacity to heal as long as it feels safe and regulated.
Mhm. And you also, like, as a certified brain trainer, what does it actually mean to train your brain?
training your brain is really about the conscious relationship between your brain and your behaviors, your actions, and your feelings. That's what really supports how the brain interacts with the inside and with the outside world.
Mm-hmm. And does like our brain like does it lights I know it lights up in different areas, but does it like grow, or do we need to stimulate certain areas that like we might like be neglected, or I don't know. Like
Yeah,
what is the landscape
absolutely.
of the brain?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But that really depends on where your brain's already firing and where it's not, right? That's why a brain scan is pretty cool, because you can see what parts of your brain are firing and what parts aren't. And obviously that will change during the day. But if you're more anxious prone, then, your anterior cingulate is going to always be firing over and over and over. And we want to calm that down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
So
it's
like as a
simple. And I mean, it's
mm-hmm.
not, I mean, I think that's the thing. It's like there's all these things that we can take, right? And there's all these things that we can do. But the simplest things sometimes have the most profound effect. And when you see it in a brain scan, it becomes there's just no denying it. Gratitude. Gratitude
Mm-hmm.
profoundly changes how the brain regulates and how it works. Just a simple practice of journaling and quieting the brain, meditation, bringing it in coherence with the heart. I know that sounds crazy when we have all these machines and a hyperbaric oxygen, which can help actually repair the brain, but that's from trauma or injury. That's something different. But when it really comes to brain health from um, a mindset standpoint or a mental or an emotional standpoint, it's these practices that are truly transformational.
Mm-hmm. It's like the little things are actually the big things.
Huge. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
never, you cannot underestimate.
Mm-hmm. So like gratitude is something that is so powerful to support our brain. Are there things that we might not even realize that we do that impact our brain in not the best of ways?
Negative self-talk is huge, right?
Mm,
Because that's activating a part of the brain that starts repeating things and starts believing that. And of course, that
mm-hmm.
changes what you're seeing in your outside world too. You see that reflection in your outside world. Food, very can be very, very dangerous for the brain, especially sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really focusing on clean organic foods, nutrient dense, that are going to support the brain, protein, really good fats that are full of omegas, these types of things. Really great relationships, because that lights up centers of the brain and allows it to work at a more optimized level. So it's little things that we honestly don't think of that really start to change our brains. That's why if we're in stressful situations, it's hard for us to think about different things. Or if there's something, we all do this, if there's something negative going on in our lives, we tend to hold on to that negativity. The brain really likes to repeat things over and over and over. So the antidote to that then is like positive affirmations, journaling, again, gratitude will shift the brain so quickly.
Mm-hmm. Do you personally like curate your day to support your brain health, which supports your overall health, with those like micro habits that like you even mentioned?
Well, I was going to say no. I was going to say no, I don't. I just go about my day. But when I think about it, every morning when I wake up, I do meditate for a few minutes. And it's not like I sit there for 20 minutes. I do that at a later part of the day, but in the morning. So when we're going to sleep at night, and when we're waking up in the morning, our brain is in theta state. And that's when
Mm-hmm.
our brain is most adaptive to change, right? That neuroplasticity that we hear people talking about all the time. So that's the point, right when you're falling asleep and right when you're waking up, when you essentially want to speak positive thoughts about yourself, about your day, about the people around you. That's going to set the tone for what's going to come to you for the rest of the day and how you're going to
Mm-hmm.
respond for the rest of the day. So I always take a few minutes to sit to try to sit in that state for as long as I can. And it's usually just a few minutes until my brain truly wakes up and starts thinking about all the things that I have to do and hearing my daughter in the background, etc. But that's really important. And then I also try really hard to just I keep this, it's actually like an artist's sketch pad. It's huge. I don't even know how big. It's
Uh-huh.
a huge pad next to my bed, and I'll pick it up and I'll do a few lines of journaling just really quickly to whatever's on my mind, get it out of my system. So, and then, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when I get home from work, to bridge between home and work, I do something very similar. I go and I meditate for longer at that point, just so that I can, it almost feels like my brain's getting cleaned, right? So that I can
Mm-hmm.
you know, fully transition from one brain to another, which is like work to mom. If I don't do that, it drives my kids crazy because I never stop thinking about work and I'm not fully present with them. So it's helpful. And then throughout the day, I mean, I do exercise regularly, and exercise is huge for the brain. I don't even know how many clinical studies at this point have been done between exercise and very specific SSRIs, even in high doses, not even just in low doses, that
Mm-hmm.
show it's just as effective or more effective than an SSRI because it shifts the brain's chemistry that much.
Mm-hmm.
Exercise is so, so, so important. And I never knew I never understood how it affected the brain, but from a young age, if I wasn't running or jumping or in gymnastics or dancing or swimming or whatever it was, which I did everything, I was miserable. And,
Mm-hmm.
fast forward all these years and starting to learn about the brain, it makes complete sense now.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny because you were gonna say no, but you've just created so many habits that like support your brain that are just like so intuitive to you now.
They're just part of my day now. Exactly. And I
Mm-hmm.
think like that's where everybody needs to get to the point that it's habit. It's an easy habit to compound. It's something that you look forward to. We always say, Juna, like wellness shouldn't be hard. And it shouldn't taste bad. It should be something
Mm-hmm.
that you enjoy, and not only that you enjoy, but that you look forward to every day. And I truly look forward to going to sleep every night. One, because I know that I'm going to get in that theta state, and I know that I'm going to be able to rewire my brain or work to rewire my brain. And then
Mm-hmm.
with as much as I know about sleep at this point, I also know that when I hit stage 3 deep sleep, my whole brain is going to get cleaned out, and I'm going to wake up the next morning feeling refreshed and regenerated, because if you sleep deep, you literally wake up younger. So these are all
Mm-hmm.
exciting things for me now. They're not things that I have to do. They're things that I want to do, and I look forward to them.
So what is the power of I'm like curious of just like what is the power of these multiple things on the brain? Like what is the power of sleep? And then even like personally when like I go to breath work and there's like sound healing or meditation, I feel like I just like walk out and I'm like high on life. I'm like I don't even know if I need to even try psychedelics because I feel like I just get
Yeah.
high on my own breath.
Well, you are. Yeah. I mean, look, like sleep, I don't think people really think about what sleep is. It's just something that they do, right? But where sleep really takes place is in the brain, which is why it's the biggest longevity hack of all time.
Mhm.
Because if you're sleeping, your body is going to regenerate and repair, including your brain. So when we sleep, especially when we hit that stage 3 deep sleep, our lymphatic system, which lives in our brain, it's like the lymphatic system in the rest of our body. It turns on, and this cerebral fluid washes our brain completely clean.
Mhm.
So that's how we wake up feeling refreshed in the morning. If we're not hitting that deep 3 sleep, and that can happen if we're not producing adequate amounts of melatonin, if we're not metabolizing blue light properly, which so much of us aren't. If we're overstimulated, we live in this world of sensory and schedule overload. It's hard. But that's when you start to wake up and you feel that brain fog and you feel like you can't focus and concentrate. So sleep is so important for the brain. The breath work, yeah. I mean, I'm not a breathwork expert. I love it. I started doing it about 10 years ago when it was like very, very woo woo. I started doing a lot of things back when people were like, that is nobody does that. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
ever going to do that. And now it feels almost mainstream at this point. And it's incredibly powerful. I mean, it takes you deep inside many places of your brain, but one of the place it boosts so much oxygen to your brain, especially like deep in your limbic brain. And deep in your limbic brain lives the pineal gland, which, if you're familiar with like quantum
Yeah.
and Joe Dispenza, you'll hear him talk about a lot. That's where melatonin is secreted and released, which is what helps with your circadian rhythms, your sleep wake cycles. It's also your portal to manifestation. And it's also where your brain releases DMT to dream. So when you're doing this heavy breath work, what you're doing is you're putting, by holding your breath, and if you're doing it properly, you're putting incredible pressure on this piece of your brain with the pineal gland, which is allowing it to have this very expansive experience.
Mm, that's powerful. Every time I do breath work with my friend who's an instructor, she's like, Zoe, what alternate universe did you go to today?
I love it. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, highly recommend it. And then the reason why it's often matched with cold plunge is because when you're doing this breath work, you're building so much oxygen in your body that you're able to sit in the cold for prolonged amounts of time because your body is essentially warm from all the oxygen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I've even like told you that I've had like head trauma, and I feel like breath work has helped me so much by probably oxygenating my brain
Yeah,
more than it had like for so long.
absolutely. And speaking of oxygenating the brain, um, these are our Juna detox drops. The hero ingredient in here is chlorophyll, and chlorophyll actually is known to push oxygen into the bloodstream. So when we do breathwork events at Juna, we actually do our detox drops. We offer our detox drops before the breathwork to kickstart that oxygen.
I love that. And they
And
taste so good
delicious.
because they're nice and minty.
They're
So,
very refreshing.
with all of this like intentionality too, like how have you so carefully curated the products that you have at Juna today? And how have you determined what you've even launched in the world?
How do we determine? It starts with a problem. So, Taylor and I start looking at what our own problems are and then what our friends and family and our customers' problems are. And then we work into we work back into the products.
So, for example, your detox drops, was that initially to support brain health, or what was the initial problem there?
Detox. It was literally simply to detox because we live in a world, unfortunately, that's full of toxins. Even if we try to stay away from them, it's the air, it's the microplastics. I mean, they're, it's now, the microplastics are showing up in our brain. They're showing
Mm-hmm.
up in placentas. They're showing up everywhere. So if we're holding them in our body, if it's possible to gently start to release them out, um, it's really important for overall health and vitality.
Mm-hmm. And how often do you drink water with detox drops a
Every day,
day?
all day.
So it's not like you should stop drinking them like black tea or coffee in the afternoon or anything like that.
Chlorophyll's really, really safe.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really safe.
So a day in the life, how do you use your products throughout your day?
So I have coffee every morning. I make it at home every morning. If you know me, I am obsessed with coffee and matcha and water and detox drops. Literally any beverage, you'll always see me with one. So
Do you have
while
5
I'm
on your
making my
desk right
coffee,
now?
yeah. So while I'm making my coffee in the morning, I always have a cold glass of water. with Juna's detox chlorophyll drops in them. And that's really how I start my day. It's similar to the philosophy of drinking water with lemon in the morning before you do anything else. So what it's doing is just like optimizing your digestion and kickstarting your detoxification pathways. And it feels good. And what the chlorophyll does is because it's pushing oxygen to the blood, it's also pushing oxygen to the cells. So it can be a little bit energizing for people as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then I have my gut therapy. It's 4 capsules first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. So I do this when I get into work. And this is all about replenishing and healing the gut. And as you do that, you're benefiting the brain. So 90% of your serotonin is created in your gut. 50% of your dopamine is created in your gut, your amino acids. So basically all your neurotransmitters, right? So when you take care of your gut, when you support your gut, you're optimizing your brain. So this is also really good for focus. It has an adaptogen called Panax ginseng in it. And it's been clinically studied to support memory, mood, and cognition within 40 minutes. So basically, everyone can benefit from this.
Let's also just pause right there. 90% of your serotonin is produced in your gut. So that's our happy hormone. So so much of our happiness and mood starts with our gut. So that's, you're previously talking about your gut brain connection too.
Yeah, exactly. It's such an important connection. So yeah, your neurotransmitters are in your gut and then they're making their way to your brain via the vagus nerve, which is the largest nerve in your body. They're going up to the brain, they're redirecting, they're reorganizing, and then they're coming back down to your gut and they're diversifying your gut microbiome. So Dr. Amen actually goes pretty far when he talks about the gut brain connection. But yeah, essentially, if you don't have a healthy gut, it's going to be pretty hard to have an optimized brain. So whether that's in memory, mood, cognition, whatever it is, it's going to be really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, some people say that your gut is actually your first brain. And when you think about this connection, just to put it in perspective a little bit, there are over the gut has trillions and trillions of bacteria living inside of it, an entire universe. And there's only 8 billion people on the entire planet. So really everything that you need to heal is in your gut, and it's redirecting and allowing different communication between the other parts of your body that happens through the nervous system, like the gut brain connection.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
And then
make sense?
say, no, that makes complete sense. And then say you go on to your workout in the day and you take your Smartburn.
Our newest product,
It's so good.
favorite. These have been in the works since late 2022, a long time. And that is because we really wanted these to be in a gummy. We have a lot of capsules and we want people to use the entire Juna system. So we personally, Taylor and I, and also wanted our customers to be able to use, drops in our water, a gummy, and then capsules as needed. So these are completely game changing for metabolic health. It is, I believe, and I was just at Erewhon, so I feel like I can say this with a lot of confidence, the only metabolic product on the market specifically formulated around women's physiology and women's biology. So many of the metabolic products out there, especially like the fat burn ones, they were created by men for men. And what they do is they force your body into this like really quick thermogenic state so that you burn all these calories and burn all this fat. But for women, that spikes our cortisol. And when our cortisol is spiked, it actually forces us to hold on to fat.
Mm-hmm.
So these work very differently. There's something in them. There's 3 trademarked, clinically proven ingredients. One is called Slimbiotics, which is this very, very cool next generation designer probiotic. And it's actually a postbiotic, which is a probiotic that's been heat treated. And what it does is it works in your gut microbiome to help you have a healthy body composition. So you can think about waist circumference and actually how you look. The second ingredient is called EnoSlim, and it's a proprietary blend of Panax ginseng and astragalus. And it is all about activating AMPK. AMPK is the master metabolic switch in the body. We all have it and we all want it optimized. And if we're stressed, if we're not sleeping, as we age at different times of our cycle, our AMPK is going to downregulate. So just even to keep your AMPK regulated, you would want to take this every day. And then it also helps stabilize blood glucose, and activate GLP-1, which is, I mean, I feel like a lot of people know about GLP-1s right now, but the goal of GLP-1s originally was to help support people with diabetes. So at its core, it's about balancing blood sugar, and metabolic wellness is blood sugar lock and key. And when your blood sugar is lock and key, all your metabolic functions work better. So it's a really exciting product. And then we also have something in here called Calorie Burn, which is a trademarked ingredient. The ingredient is Greens Paradise. It comes from the ginger family, and it helps your body convert fat into fuel. And it also burns your calories up to 5 times within 2 hours. And that's why we say this is like such a great pre-workout product, because you're going to the gym anyways. So you might as well get the most out of it. And this product is also, it's not a quick fix. We do not market it as a weight loss product. This is for somebody who's already doing the work. Like with anything, there is no supplement, there is no pharmaceutical, there is nothing that is going to do all the work for you. Like, that's up to you. You're the one that has to go and do the exercise. You're the one that has to put the good food in your body. You're the one that has to sleep. And then this is a supplement. And that's going to help your body this is going to help push your body to exactly where it needs to be. Fave product right now.
I love, well, it tastes so good too, and it has like the ginger bite to it too.
That's not any type of a flavor. That's like naturally from the Greens Paradise.
And creatine is so big right now. Would you recommend people take it in place of creatine or in addition to it?
Creatine is so different. Creatine is actually it's not necessarily about metabolic wellness and optimization. Creatine is I think it's about energy. It's about pushing energy into the cells and activating that ATP energy. I was going to say ATP. Now I'm confused.
ATP, yes.
Yeah. So that's what creatine's about. And there's more and more information and research coming out about creatine and how it's not just about building muscle and retaining the water in the muscle anymore, that it's so good for so many more things. But I think for women, especially, this is all about cellular energy. And that's really important because your cells your mitochondrial health, that's your life force, right? So if that's healthy, everything else is going to work better. Yeah, there's so much out there for brain fog, brain performance, helping women, especially in specific hormonal stages. So yeah, I think there's a lot of research to be done still, especially around dosing, but I think it's here to stay. And I think it's a really exciting ingredient. So take your creatine with your Smart Burn.
Perfect. We'll take it together.
Exactly.
And then you have your digestive enzymes.
Yep. These are foundational. Enzymes are highly underrated. They help with so many things, from nutrient absorption to helping you break down and digest your foods. Ours, we talk about it as a trifecta. So it's got 15 digestive enzymes, all the main ones for breaking down protein, lactose, fiber, legumes, all of that. Plus, it's got 2 fruit enzymes, papain and bromelain, which are papaya and pineapple, that are incredible for inflammation. They help with bloat. enzymes are incredible for pre and post surgery, actually, to help with some of that
Mm.
inflammation in the body.
Mhm.
They also are really great post surgery to help push and digest some of those antibiotics and things that were used in surgery out of your body. They are clinically studied there's a spore-based probiotic in here that's clinically studied to help with all digestive discomforts. So if you eat pizza or ice cream and you find yourself bloated, take these within 40 minutes. You're literally a new person. And
Mm.
if you're somebody that struggles with bloat, you know that it will take you down faster than anything. You don't want to be around anyone. You can't concentrate at work. This is, if there was a magic, if there was a magic pill for bloat, this is 1,000% it.
Digestive enzyme debloat.
Yeah.
And I love your sleep gummies too, because I feel like you've told me that they're formulated differently where they help your body produce your natural melatonin by just having a small bit of melatonin in them.
Yeah. So these are sleep gummies. Also, I should say all of Juna's products are sugar-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, keto-friendly, won't break a fast. Every single ingredient in every single product has a function. And so we've actually replaced the sugar in our gummies with a prebiotic fiber. So it's
Mm-hmm.
actually strengthening your gut health. At the same time, we thought having a gummy that was full of sugar or coated in sugar was very counterintuitive. So we didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the hero ingredient, these are plant-based. They're full of tart cherry, passion flower, hops, chamomile, jujube, which is natural GABA that raises your serotonin, magnesium with 72 trace minerals. But the hero in here is something called phytomelatonin. It's a plant-derived melatonin. It comes from the plant St. John's wort, but we don't extract any other compounds out of the
Mm-hmm.
St. John's wort, only the melatonin. And the dosage is 0.3 milligrams. It's a dosage that's been studied by MIT about 15 years ago. And we are the only company that I know of that cites that study. And what it does, that very, very small dose, it just encourages your body to produce exactly the amount of melatonin it needs. So it's the Goldilocks fit every single time you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up feeling refreshed.
Amazing. So
Literally works for everybody.
if somebody is starting, they're like, "Oh my God, this is so many products." Which one would you recommend somebody starting with?
Whatever their biggest problem is. If they're not sleeping, start with if someone's not sleeping, start with sleep. Like
Mm-hmm.
first priority, get your sleep on track because once you do, everything's automatically going to start to work better. If you have gut problems, if you have like IBS or leaky gut and need something that's really going to replenish and nourish, we've got gut therapy. If you're having problems with focus, ADHD, gut therapy is also really helpful for that because it's got 6 psychobiotics in it and the Panax ginseng that help with that focus, memory, and mood. If you're dealing with bloat, digestive enzymes, if you want whatever's going on in your body. I mean, we've got one for everything. And if you don't know what's going on in your body, but you just want to optimize it, we have an at-home gut health test. It's called Microbiome IQ. We've partnered with the largest microbiome database in the world and the leading microbiome researcher in the world. And the test is really easy. It's a quick at-home swab. You send it to our lab, which is at Case Western University here in the US. Very important. And 14,000 bacteria and phyla are analyzed. And then we send you a report on the top 40. And with that report, I mean, yes, you get this like lab test that's very hard to decipher. But along with that, we give you an actionable plan. We give you a gut health score. So you know where your gut stands. And then we look at what's out of balance. And we give you a lifestyle supplementation and diet protocol that you can follow to get it back on track. And that
Mm-hmm.
includes Juna's products, but it also includes other products that we actually don't make.
Mm-hmm. I love how you just like light up so much when you talk about just all of the products, but also just like the impact of how they have the potential to change your life. And it's just like so aligned with like how you talk about wellness isn't a destination, but it's like that daily decision, and how can we choose 1% better over perfection every day.
Yeah, I mean, if you get up every morning and take a certain supplement, you're going to see a difference over time. Just like if you get up every morning and take an SSRI over time, you're going to see a difference. If you get up every morning and meditate for 5 minutes, if you do that for a year, you are a different person in a
Mm-hmm.
year. Like there's just no question. So it's, it's about taking these tiny habits, right? And doing them daily and letting them compound over time. A book that I recommend to literally anyone and everyone I can, if given the opportunity, is James Clear's Atomic Habits. I think even if you
So
just
good.
read the first 25 pages, it's completely life changing.
Mm-hmm. No, it's so good. Habits are powerful. And you also like mentioned in the beginning too, you feel like you kind of have a thumb on like what are these trends going to be, even like breath work. What trends do you think are coming, and what do you think we should actually pay attention to?
I think you should pay attention to your own body. I
Mm,
think our bodies, I kind of touched on this earlier, they're so intelligent and they have the ability to heal. They have the ability to regenerate. You just need to really listen to what you need, not what I need or not what our mom needs or our sister or our best friend or our kids, but what you need to really listen to what you need. And then you need to give it the environment to get there. I think
mm-hmm.
like that's the biggest thing. Yes, there's a lot of different tools and supplements to help with that. But I think the biggest thing first is just truly understanding that your own body is more powerful than anything.
Mm-hmm. And how do you feel like you personally, as well as like in your health journey, have evolved with Juna over time?
How do I think I have personally with my own health? Well, I've learned a lot more about health and about wellness, and they're very different things. Um, I've had to evolve because my job and Taylor's job as founders of this company are to understand the body and to know what's really going to create the change and to walk the walk. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I really always have, but now I'm able to do it publicly. I feel like 10 and 15 years ago, talking about, yeah, the breath work or the meditating or the chanting cleanses. I went through a phase of about, I don't even know how long it was, probably close to a decade, where I would do this chanting cleanse every year where I would chant 108 times every single day for 40 days to try to call something in or clear something out. And it was harder to go public with that because people really just didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I think now that a lot of the evolution is me being able to really talk about the things that I've done personally and professionally before Juna even existed and help
Mm-hmm.
people understand how that can transform their lives as well.
Yeah. And in looking ahead to this coming year or more, what are you most excited about to come with Juna, if you can share any sneak peeks?
I can't. I have a little bit of a rule that I don't like to share things before they're public. But what I can share is that we are working on some really exciting new products that are launching this year. The first one will be launching in Q2 of this year. And I can also share that Taylor and I both have like a deep passion, craving, and like even reverence for being with our community. And so there's going to be a lot more events and a lot more opportunities to connect with us and connect with the community that builds the world that is Juna.
You are so community oriented and your events are incredible. So I will definitely stay tuned for all of those and know our community will too. As we wrap up, what's one reminder you want listeners to take away from today's conversation?
I would say the math is simple. Calculation is this. I also share this advice often. Think about what you are doing today. If it's not going to benefit you tomorrow, don't do it. The quality of your life is seriously only as good as the quality of your decisions.
I love that. That's some good math right there.
Right? Simple, super simple.
Yeah. And where can listeners connect with you, explore Juna products, and explore your new Substack?
Okay, so first of all, juna-world.com. That's where you're going to find everything. Instagram and TikTok, juna.world. And we have some really fun stuff. TikTok's really fun. Check us out on TikTok for sure. But Instagram, we have not just really beautiful posts, but really educational posts. We talk a lot about the products. We're super receptive. If you DM us, we often respond within minutes, if not an hour. You can find me personally on Instagram at Jewel_Zimmer. And then on Substack, my Substack is called Only Better, but it's under my name. So it's Jewel Zimmer 1.
Amazing. We'll link everything to the show notes, and we have a discount that everybody listening can use to try out all of your products for the first time.
Yes, please do. And definitely reach out if you have any questions at all. Taylor and I are both here to answer any questions, and we have amazing customer service. They literally it's like they made the products. They're so good.
Amazing. That's no surprise because you just attract the most incredible people. Well, thank you so much for your time. This conversation, I feel like it was a gut brain masterclass and my mind is blown by all of it.
Thanks for having me, Zoe. I love to come on and just chat and communicate and see where it all goes.
Same. I'm sure we'll have you and Taylor on again sometime too.
Yeah, we would love that.
Thank you for tuning in to the We Shine Well podcast. If today's conversation lit something up in you, I'd love for you to share it with a friend, leave us a review, and dive deeper each week by subscribing to our Substack in the show notes to interact with guests and discover more resources to expand you. Until next time, keep trusting your right next step and keep shining, my friend.